no other than Mr. Pavel Fedorov.
It's a pleasure to create such a esteemed audience today. I think it's a great event that we're hosting, and thank you so much, Laker, for hosting us. So my name is Pavel. I'm one of the co-founders of Salmon, together with Rafi, who is with the audience today, and he will present the second part talking about Salmon Bank. Let me just say a few words about Salmon, our philosophy, and the thesis, right? When we talk about Salmon, right, we talk about innovation, right? We believe that we innovate in the financial industry, and what innovation means, it means doing things in a different way, right? When people talk about finance, I think finance overall is a very intimate, it's a very personal topic for everyone, right? When you can talk about your parents' house, you can talk about your kids' school performance, but talking about finance is usually extremely personal. It's really difficult. People feel fairly insecure talking about their financial lives. Right, and why is that, right? Because you often don't get what you want when you try to do finance, and when you try to get financial services from typical providers. Secondly, you always end up waiting for something, right? You submit some documents, you wait a few weeks, you don't know what the decision is. You put money in the bank and it takes you, 50 years to get proper returns. So it's all about waiting in confidence, personal, intimate issues. So we want to change it. We want to change it dramatically by doing things differently. That's why we call ourselves innovators. So Salmon is actually the exact opposite of those things. First, we want your banking or your financial experience to be instant. And the world is changing, right? We all have very little patience by now to wait for something, especially a long time. The world is it should be at your fingertips. That's what you expect. Especially in a market like the Philippines, right, where it's a social media capital of the world, as you all know. It's a market where people are extremely mobile native. So we want the services to be instant. So at Salmon we created products that work in an instant way. So you can apply open bank account online and very quickly. You can apply for a credit online and do it extremely quickly. We actually, that's an anecdotal story, but we actually had to slow down how the credit decisions are made, right? So we make them because we rely essentially entirely on artificial intelligence driving the credit decisions, and this is very complex sort of mathematical models we built in, but we make credit decisions in something like 20 seconds. So when we first start rolling this out to people would come and say, no, can you please make sure that you really consider my documents? The reality is that we had to slow down the process when we return the answer back to people, because we made it so instant that people had to get used to it. So we're creating a machine, we're creating a service that is extremely quick in providing you with the financial service you want. We want that financial service to be extremely rewarding. And if you look at people that use our product on the credit side, Salmon Credit, 88% of these people, they believe that this product improves their financial lives. We do the regular polls of our clients, and 88% of them that this product is making a tremendous change, positive change, to the way they live their lives, and they can aspire more, and they can live better lives. On the deposit side, very similar. Rafi will talk about this. But when we said, okay, how about we reinvent sort of deposits, right? Why? We don't have many branches, right, because of our technology-centric model. So we said, why don't we just pass the savings, extra savings that we have, back to our depositors, back to our clients, because they deserve better. And if you actually go online today, you'll see, we offer 6.5%, right? That's a very, very high level. So we said, let's reinvent how we do banking. Let's reinvent how we do financial services in the Philippines by making this instant, making this positive for clients and experience. And the third thing that we'll talk about is the community-based approach. And I think this is one of the reasons why we want to have this discussion today. We want to build a community around Salmon and make sure that everyone is engaged, right? That we are free to share our positive and negative experiences, and we're like free. We're not alone in our financial journeys. So for us, that's a key when we decide to build Salmon. So the company traces its roots back to, if you talk about Salmon itself, back to 2022, right? So I mean, despite where we are, we're only a 2-year-old plus company, you know, at the whole company level. By now, if you look at our numbers, we have 1 million of monthly active users. We have 7 million downloads of our application, and we're present across 5,000 merchants, 5,000 sort of merchants across the country. So pretty much in any retail store that you have in the country, you can walk in, you can find a Salmon ambassador, you can find a Salmon QR, you can find another touch point with the clients where we're essentially present across the nation. And it's a product that's been proudly built in the Philippines, and we believe that the platforms we've built can be taken to many other markets. So I think we're very, very happy to be the innovators that can build something truly world-class in the Philippines and can take it to many other markets across Southeast Asia and potentially Europe. So just a few words about the founders. So we'll talk about this in a bit more detail in like personal meetings and discussions. But myself, I've been doing financial services for whatever, 28 years by now. 25, yeah, that's 25 plus. So 25. So I started my career in Morgan Stanley, first in New York and in London. So I've been with Morgan Stanley for about 14 years, doing technology banking. Then I was in a sort of a corporate field, essentially focusing on restructuring big companies. The last position that I held on the corporate side was a co-CEO of Tinkoff. Tinkoff was one of the world's largest digital banks. I was a co-CEO of the company in 2022, and then there was a point when we kind of met, had a meeting of minds with Rafi and George, and said, listen, the Philippines, I mean, and we looked at many markets, but the Philippines is on the cusp of a major change, right? Because there are so many things are coming together in terms of the market, in terms of the market infrastructure, and yet it remains incredibly underpenetrated with really top quality modern financial services. And that was like a big moment of revelation for us. That was the time, and we said, listen, let's do it on our own. Let's build a top quality business here. Luckily, my co-founders, George was the employee number 1 at Tinkoff from back 2006, right? So he's one of the world's best architects of modern financial services. And Rafi will say a few words about himself, so I will not spend too much time, but I think is a very rare breed of somebody who spent quite a bit of time with a legacy bank on the credit card side, and somebody who's really done great things on the technology side, and those two things, they do come together, I think, in a great way in our partnership that was formed so quickly. So, just a few words so you understand sort of who is behind Salmon, right? So we've been lucky enough and privileged enough to have the sponsorship of truly world-class investors. So by now, I mean, we don't say it often, but we're one of the biggest, probably the biggest foreign direct investors in the Philippines consumer lending markets over the last few years, right? So all in, we brought in around 14 billion pesos to build the business. And if you look about names that are helping us to grow, it's International Finance Corporation. It's part of the World Bank. It's a major supranational entity. It is the Royal Family of Abu Dhabi. It is the Sovereign Wealth Fund of Abu Dhabi, called ADQ and Lunate. It's the asset management arm. It is a great group of the US investors that have invested into us in the last rounds. I mean, led by former partners of Cupid Capital and major US institutional investors. We don't disclose them, but I mean, they are truly world class. RS is here, back in black, many others. We also have some prominent Filipino investors locally that have been incredibly supportive, and we've been growing with the help, I think, with a truly world class sort of base of partners. So as I said, we have a very short history that we've been building business. You know, we've been building this in 2+ years. But I think we established ourselves as somebody who's very bold. We're challenging the conventions in this market. We're changing this in the way the business is done, right? As you appreciate legacy banks, they operate, incredibly complex systems. They're very, very outdated systems as well. Unlike them, we are what's called cloud native, right? So what that basically means, all of the data, all of our systems live in the cloud, right? It takes us, we have small Lego pieces, and we can construct new products out of them in an incredibly short period of time. Just to give you an example. So we had this idea, so we looked at the market, I think beginning of this year, we said, listen, so we're doing great things here, there, in this place, but how about the motorcycles, right? So it's such a relatively underpenetrated but rapidly growing market in the Philippines. And still, people use an incredibly difficult and complex process of actually getting a loan, right? So you go into some dealer, you fill the paperwork, okay, you wait for a home visit, somebody comes and knocks on your door, checks if you're there, like where you live, and then maybe, whatever, 2 to 4 weeks time, you get an approval, and then, so it was like, for the 19th century experience. And so let's reinvent this, right? So it took us, so you just get a sense of the speed, it took us exactly 3 months from the idea to the launch of a product. Now motorbike loans are available on our app as well. So, and that's driven by the fact that we're cloud native, right? So we can develop new products at an incredibly fast speed. 3 months from idea to launch. And this is what you should expect with many other things that we have in our pipeline. I mentioned that we essentially we're AI-centric, right? So essentially every single decision that we make within the firm, every element of our application is enabled by AI, right? This relates to recognizing your face at the moment you onboard with us, making a creative decision, helping you to shape your customized product offering, interactions with you. It's all essentially driven by artificial intelligence. And that's very, very different to pretty much any institution, not only in the Philippines, but actually across Southeast Asia with few examples. Reliability, I'll talk about this, right? Because we're cloud native, because we have top-notch systems. Our uptime of our application is 99.9%. Just to give you, this might not be much, but essentially that means that we never go down. We are always on. That's very different, right? If I were to ask you what is the uptime of top 5 Philippine banks, what do you think that would be? The numbers are 95 to 98%. And if you translate this into working hours, what that means is that some banks could be down probably on average, 1 to 2 hours per day throughout the year. And as you appreciate, those are the days and hours when you want to make a particular transaction, because those are peak times. People just 6 p.m. everybody's leaving work, everybody wants to make a transfer, and the application goes down. Or you get this message that our application is on maintenance for the next 2 days, and it's Christmas, right? So we'll never go down. That is very, very different. Our uptime is 99, so we're reliable. We're always there for you. So in other words, we're very different. And this, if you actually look at the numbers, I think you'll see that. Talk about uptime. The people that we work with, right? We have a 4.8 rating in App Store and Google Play. And this is one of the highest rated applications in the finance category in the Philippines. If you talk about the bigger legacy banks, you'll see these numbers vary from, and you're social media native, right? For the big banks, it's between 1.5, 1.4, whatever, 3 maybe. And that's laughable, right? In a good sense, right? So we can really make a difference in terms of the quality of the experience that people can receive. With us, as I said, reliability, this relates to uptime, this relates to payments. You can make payments incredibly easy and convenient. And it's been showing the numbers, right? The business has been growing. So, if you look at the traction with recurring customers, it's year on year, it's 4x. But more than this, we've been growing at an incredibly fast pace. So you probably heard of, in semiconductors industry, there is this, the Gordon Moore's law, right? Where the processing power of processors, the density sort of doubles every 2 years. We have Salmon law, okay? I don't know how long we're gonna stick with that, But the reality is that we've been doubling every 6 to 9 months, and we expect to keep on doubling every 6 to 9 months in terms of key financing and operating metrics for foreseeable future. And everybody's here is obviously interested in finance, so you probably appreciate the power of compounding, right? So it gets big pretty quickly. We've been on this track so far, and we expect to be on this track for foreseeable future. So that's what you will see. The products, I mean, extremely simple interface, incredibly easy to use. And I'll talk about sort of some of the things that we do, just sort of so you get a sense of what it is. So for example, salmon credit. By now we're giving credit up to 100,000. Up to 100,000 actually is a decent amount of money to use. And the beauty of this product is that it's a 3-in-1 product. 3-in-1 meaning that you actually have a QR code with which you can QR page, you can go and just pay anywhere. I mean, 600,000 merchants across the country. You have virtual card. I mean, you can burn the virtual, so you buy something stupid on the internet. You don't trust the store, so it's incredibly secure. You don't trust the store, you can just go and burn the card and just get a new one issued for you. Free, super secure. Your money is never touched. There is no fraud of salmon because we essentially just give you all the tools to protect yourself. You have an optional physical card. If you want to have an optional physical card, we can have it for you, right? We can have it delivered for you. So that's very different. But on the top of this, unlike a typical credit card, we have 0 subscription fee. So you're not paying any annual fees, you're not paying any subscription fees. But I think most exciting thing about Salmon Credit is the other thing. It is the 62 days. So essentially for 62 days, you're not paying any interest. Full stop. That's better, right? So imagine you want to have an emergency fund. I mean, so for any occasion in life might break. It's always in your pocket. It's always in your mobile. Go, pay, return within 60 days, you pay 0 interest. And that's very, very unique. Product loans. I talked that we're present in 5,000 points across the retailers across the country. And again, that's an extremely simple process. Like you probably know that to get a loan, people usually need to get their SSS filings, many identifications, some even carry recommendation letters to work, which we believe. I mean, it has nothing to do with the way financial services should be provided in the modern world. With us, all you need is just one ID and your face. We take a photo, one ID, your face, within 2 minutes, you have full credit decision paperwork done. That's it. And there is no hidden fees. There is, no, sir, we have to calculate this differently when you actually get the loan. We just show you how much you're gonna pay day one. We're being very, very adult with our customers. There is no in-app repayment fees. You can return the loan, essentially paying 0 to service providers. Incredibly easy and convenient experience. Salmon motor loans, I talked about this. It's a fully digital experience. So you don't need to go anywhere. Right? You just apply in your app. You get the decision done in your favor, hopefully, and most people do. It's instant approval. You don't need to wait. I mean, we live in a society of now, and we give that opportunity to everyone. And then next day delivery, next morning, you just go deliver and get your bike. I mean, it's very refreshing. It's very, very different. As I said, most of the technology has been done in-house, right? And it's like super secure, really cutting-edge technology. We talk about Salmon being a financial company. Just be very clear. We're not a financial company. We're a technology company with a bank license and with a financing company license. Needless to say, we're extremely compliant with all the regulatory constraints and provisions that have been put on us, but we are incredibly technologically driven. So all the stuff has been built in-house. Now, the third part that I mentioned, right? So being instant is important, being better off is important, but most important is we're building an ecosystem where people would feel as a part of the community, where people would feel safe, secure, like a system that people would love. So we started with simple products which were on the credit side. We reinvented time deposits, and we made quite a bit of noise with this reinvention. Rafi will talk about this. But the pipeline that we have of new products that's coming online is very deep. So we will be launching daily banking very, very soon. We'll be launching SME product very, very soon. There will be many other exciting products that will be coming, but it will be growing, as part of our ecosystem under the Salmon Financial Super App. These things will be popping up quicker than you expect. So I think as part of our exercise of building community, one thing we would like to reveal today and would like to present is what we call the Salmon Affiliate Program, right? Just to be very clear, this is the first ever affiliate program done by a bank or a financial company in the Philippines. First ever, full stop. Okay, so it's been built completely in-house, and the way it works is as follows. Any creator, any media personality in the country can now sign up with us. You get a personal dashboard, so it's like your own personal office space, and you have a very, very transparent way of tracking your funnel, basically, your traction with the customers. You can embed the links in any of your postings, and you get paid for any approved customer, right? And that's how it works, right? We pay people monthly, like super easy, super simple, but for us it's big investments. It's building the community into people that we believe are sharing our beliefs that financial services today in the Philippines do deserve much better. They deserve to be instant, they deserve to be rewarding, and they need to be community-centered. With this, thank you so much, and I'm passing this over to Rafi.